So at this point in the course, you might be asking yourself, but what happens when I am provided with a training request that just feels like an order? I hear time and time again about not being an order taker, and I want to have a conversation with you about this. Depending on where you are in your career, it is very hard to balance, right? Taking the order and being a performance consultant. And when you're first starting out in your career, you can start to work towards consulting, but know that likely you are going to be taking a lot of orders. And that's okay. A lot of us have taken orders. Heck, at times, I still take orders. I'm not gonna lie about it. And here is what I tell you about that. From a performance consultant perspective, right? You have to know where your line is, right? So are there times that customers will come to me with requests, or potential customers that come to me with requests and say, I want to do this, and I just inherently do not believe it is going to be the absolute best solution, and it's probably going to bite me in the butt later? Yeah. And those are the ones that I just won't take on because I have that ability, because I own my business. Unfortunately, at times, even in business now, right, my own clients, or when I was an internal practitioner, I didn't necessarily have that opportunity. I didn't have the chance to do that because, frankly, there's no other choice, right? Like when you work as an internal practitioner, you can't just say, I don't believe in that, I'm not going to do that job. Like sometimes you just have to do it. And so what I say to you in this instance is, don't worry so much about being seen as an order taker. In my recommendation, and what I do is I do share with them my recommendation, saying, you know what, I don't think this is actually going to achieve what you are looking to achieve. And here are the reasons why. And I am a person that truly believes that if you're going to wave a flag and say, ooh, red flag, or yellow flag, right? Or is it cards, right? Yellow card. If you are going to be that person, you should also come with solutions. People don't necessarily love people that all they do is share everything that's wrong, but never actually share an opportunity to improve, a possible solution. And they're just constantly coming with, here, you know, this is the problem that we're having. I don't think that this is going to be right. And you just start to look like a negative Nancy. And no one really likes working with a negative Nancy all the time. Now listen, are there times that you kind of have to be that person? Absolutely. But when you actually come from a place of a solution, and really you're coming at a place of putting your customer first, you really do achieve more. You get more. And you build up your own personal brand, your own credibility, and you start to build upon that view, that brand, as a performance consultant. And so I say all this also to say, sometimes you might not have a solution. And that's fair, right? Sometimes you have to do a little bit more digging to figure out that solution. But that is a solution, right? Doing more digging, or saying, I don't know necessarily what the solution is, and I would love to brainstorm with you what this could possibly be, or how we could find the solution. But I just don't think that training is going to be it. And that, to me, is a much more effective way to be a performance consultant than feel like you're a bad person because you took an order, or coming from a place of like, block, that's an order, ain't gonna be doing that. So know that you need to balance. And again, like if you've seen any of past videos or reels, I do honestly believe that as a internal practitioner, as an external, consultant, whoever you are, you need to have a little bit of sales in you. And you need to figure out a way to share the benefits of why what they're doing right now is not actually going to benefit them. They're seeing a potential benefit, but that's not actually going to be it, right? And then you can provide them with some background, some history, some stories. And here's the other thing that I find when you're consulting, we love to lead from a place of like facts and figures, and I do believe there's a place for that. But know that unless you're talking to someone that really only responds to facts and figures, by and large, we're more emotional human beings, and we actually respond better to stories. So there have been instances where I have shared the facts and figures as to what's happening and why there is an issue with whatever, turnover and toxicity in work environments and things like that. And that just kind of goes like this, or it falls on, it falls on deaf ears, like no one's paying attention, right? But when I actually share a story about when I wanted to leave because of the toxic environment, when I have left situations because of toxic environments, that helps to shift, and that then people start to say, okay, they start to buy in, right? They start to wanting to know, okay, well, what are the other solutions to actually avoid this? Because we need to connect with the person and connect with the issue in order to realize if there's an actual issue. So really strategizing about how you are coming in as a consultant. And so I talk a lot about, empathetic consulting and servant leadership. And I do believe that coming from a place of empathy and being a servant is your best bet to get out of being an order taker and into becoming a performance consultant. You will have to know when and where to stand your ground, but know how to read the room and know how to pick and choose your battles and when that is the battle that you want to go. And that is going to be, the hill you're going to die on. But if you're too new in your role, in the organization, in the industry as a whole, know that this is not an overnight thing. This doesn't happen all of a sudden. This is not like I'm going to do this today and I'm going to become, a performance consultant tomorrow. It takes time. You build to it. And the more experience you get under your belt and you can pull those stories, pull the best practices from past things that you've done, past experiences, things that have worked well for others, things that you've seen have failed for others, right? Then you can share those stories and then you can start to really consult and earn that seat. So know that if you do get an order, depending on where you are in your career, you may have to take that order. But you could also be the one that says, I'll do that for you. I don't actually agree that's the best solution for the learning, and I want to let you know that I'm not 100% behind that solution because I feel like we're missing, some core elements that will affect the solution. But if that's what you want, we'll do it, right? Because if your boss comes to you and says that you need some sort of training and you know that the issue is not training, again, you can't just say no. Then you become, then you have a performance issue, and that's when you start getting written up and all of those things. But if you can build your credibility by being someone that provides a solution and is more solution oriented and someone that chips away at change, right? And maybe they're not ready for the whole kit and caboodle. I hope that's the phrase, the whole kit and caboodle. But if you can start to incrementally push them towards that, then by the time, a few months, a year, 2 years, sometimes these changes take a long time. They can get there, and they're going to realize they're actually closer to that end goal because you are slowly pushing them there. So don't be afraid if you end up having to take an order. Know that at times this can happen, and it is not a reflection upon you and not a reflection upon your amazing work that we know that you can do. So if you have any questions, if you want to share more, I would love to hear more about your thoughts on order taking, maybe some stories of times that you've had to take an order and you've, maybe adjusted or been able to turn that around. So make sure you pop that into the Slack community because I'd love to hear more about that. Talk to you soon, friends.